There are only 3 reasons why good classes suddenly fall apart. In today's video, we're going to talk about what those 3 reasons are, and then I'm going to give you one strategy to make sure that it doesn't happen in your classroom. So how many times have you heard a teacher, maybe in the teacher's lounge or a friend, colleague of yours say, I love my new class after their first day of school or first week of school? It's really common, right? You hear it all the time, but you also hear that same teacher 3 months later saying, oh my gosh, I hate my new class. It's, again, it's something that I hear personally every year. And it isn't the class that's changed per se. Yes, they've changed, but it's because of some mistakes that we're making, and we're going to go over again these mistakes. But first, please do me a favor and subscribe to this channel. Give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below. I would really, really appreciate it. So the first reason why classes go south suddenly is that you've failed. So you fail first big test. So individual students will test you from the first day of school. They're testing and they're probing the boundaries of your rules. They're trying to ascertain whether you're a pushover or not. This is really common, and it goes on for the first couple weeks of the school year until and unless you prove to them that you really do mean what you say, that you mean the rules that you've posted on your board and you're following through like you said you would. But whole classes test also. Now this happens just about, it's a phenomenon that personally it happens to me every year between about week 3 and week 5, depending on the grade level I'm teaching. But you'll have a day or a moment where it'll appear as if the entire class is testing you. So you send them off to do some independent work or an activity or a routine, and things don't go well at all. They're talking and goofing around, they're off task and this sort of thing. Sometimes it happens, you send them off and then it slowly develops. So the lesson goes poorly. It starts out okay, but then things start going off the rails. And if you fail this test, if you just move on and chalk it up to a bad moment or a bad day, and you just move on to the next thing, you remind them and move on to the next thing, then you've failed this test, and it's going to happen again and again and again. And it's like a snowball rolling down the hill. It'll get worse also. It'll happen more frequently and more severely if you don't put a stop to it. The second thing is that you begin cutting corners. You begin cutting corners. So things are going well. You've been tested. By individual students. You've passed that test. You like your class. You're telling your colleagues in the staff lounge that you love your new class and this sort of thing, and you start taking them for granted, or you assume that how they're behaving in the honeymoon period is how they're going to behave the rest of the year. You're saying to yourself, I got this, I love this, this is a great class, I finally put together the right plan, everything is going really well. And what happens is it's just really normal to not notice when that routine isn't perfect. Not notice when your students turn in their work. Let's say after they do an activity, they turn in their work and there's no disruption, but they don't turn it in exactly how you asked them to. And you do this day after day and period after period, and before you know it, it's chaotic because your standards have dropped over time, and you weren't really aware of it at the time because you're assuming, hey, I don't need to be such a stickler on things because they've proven that they can they can do it their own way and do it well. This never works out. And eventually it'll turn into the same chaos as if you failed a big test. The next thing, of course, and this seems to be a topic almost every week here, is that you become inconsistent. And it's really for the same reason as number 2. Things are going really well and you get complacent and you're like, that's misbehavior. The student did break a rule, but it was no big deal. It was a mistake. They didn't really mean it. And that's when you find yourself being a judge rather than a referee. And in the moment, it doesn't seem like a big deal, and it's not a big deal. But what happens is, again, it starts that snowball rolling down the hill every single time. That behavior infects the other students. They start pushing the limits also. They see that you're not consistent and they start building up a little bit of resentment. They start misbehaving more and testing you more. And then you do have to decide, okay, I got to draw the line somewhere, and now you're in trouble and you're always inconsistent with different students. One student gets a consequence, but this student doesn't for nearly the same behavior. It's really tough. You have lots of gray areas, and eventually it feels like suddenly, but these things happen over a few days, and then all of a sudden it sort of explodes, and then you're in the thick of it and you're really struggling. Okay, I didn't mention that this test, I said that if you move on and just chalk it up, that will continue. To fix this, and this is something we can talk about in a future video, but you want to stop as soon as you notice things not going well. Same with cutting corners. Like you see a routine that isn't how you, even though it was fine, it wasn't how you taught it. You need to stop and say, no, this is how we do it. We're going to do it this way. You're going to reteach. You may model it. You may ask your students to do it again to ensure it's happening. And you do this in order to have a great classroom in March, in order to have a great classroom the rest of the year. In the moment, you're right, it isn't a big deal, but it becomes a huge deal. And same with if you send your students off to do independent work or they're working in groups, and you immediately, the second you notice that it's not going well, you stop everything and you reteach. You go back to the previous transition and you reteach. I only want, and at Smart Classroom Management, we teach you, you're only looking for success. And your job is to go from one success to the next success to the next success. Some grade levels in classrooms, that success can be a lot. They can accomplish a lot when they're older, or they're students who maybe they're already really good students. You're in a gifted class or whatever it is. Those students, they can get a lot done, but you meet them where they are. Some students in classrooms and grade levels, first grade, kindergarten, their first learning, those successes are small. It can be just, here's how we come in and sit down on the carpet. Here's how we ask a question. Here's how we listen to read aloud. And those things, you're a stickler. You go from one success to the next, which leads us to the strategy to ensure this doesn't happen to you. And it's just simply attention to detail. To detail. It all matters. It all counts, even though in the moment it doesn't seem like it, but it will later on, and it can and will in a big, big way if you're not a stickler for those things. If it's not in your personality, well, then you have to bring it in, because this is the way it is. This is how teaching is in this day and age. It's always been an effective way, way to be an outstanding teacher. Now it's just, you need to do this to survive. and to keep your stress level low, to have some success as a teacher, and to bring students who we're going to come to your classroom with poor attention spans, and it's going to seem as if they've never been to school before sometimes. And this is why attention to detail, one success to the next. I hope this helps. Hope you're having a great week. I'll see you next time.